September 5th, 1930. A new wooden gallows stands at the center of the yard, built specifically for this morning. The federal government has constructed it from scratch because they want to be certain it will work properly on the first attempt. A faceless man in plain prison-issue gray is walked calmly and without restraint from the segregation wing across the yard to the foot of the gallows. He is 38 years old. He has been at Leavenworth for 2 years. He has been on death row for 10 months. He has, in those 10 months, written a 30,000-word handwritten autobiography by hand, in pencil, on lined prison notepaper, the most pitiless and self-aware criminal confession in the history of the English-speaking world. He climbs the 13 wooden steps to the platform. The prison chaplain steps forward to offer him last rites. He spits in the chaplain's face. The hangman steps forward to fit the noose. He turns to the hangman and says, in a clear and level voice, the line that will be carved into the official Kansas State execution log, "Hurry up, you Hoosier bastard. I could hang a dozen men while you're fooling around." 30 seconds after that, he is dead. His name is Carl Penrose. He has been convicted of a single murder, the killing of the Leavenworth prison laundry foreman, a 36-year-old federal employee named Robert Wenger, with a single blow from a 20-pound cast iron bar on the morning of June 20th, 1929. He has refused, throughout his trial and through every day of his confinement on death row, to allow his lawyers to file a single appeal. He has also, in his autobiography, confessed to 21 separate murders and over 1,000 acts of sexual assault committed across 4 continents between the years 1907 and 1929. He has handed every page of that manuscript to one man, a 22-year-old Leavenworth prison guard named Walter Lassiter. Carl Frederick Penrose is born on the 28th of June, 1891, in the small farming town of Warren, Minnesota. He is the 8th of 8 children. His mother is a Prussian Lutheran widow. His father has abandoned the family 2 years earlier. At the age of 8, Carl is caught stealing a pie from a neighbor's kitchen window. He is sent to the Minnesota State Reform School at Red Wing, a Lutheran-administered juvenile institution for boys. He is beaten regularly by the staff. He is forced to sing hymns at 4 in the morning. He is given a number instead of a name. He runs away at 14. He spends 2 years on the railroads moving west, riding the freight trains as a child hobo. He is repeatedly assaulted by older men in the boxcars. He learns to assault others first. At 16, he lies about his age and enlists in the United States Army. At 17, he is court-martialed at Fort Bliss, Texas, for stealing Army uniforms and selling them to local civilians. He is sentenced to 3 years at the United States military prison at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. This is his first stay at Leavenworth. He is released at age 19 in the spring of 1910. He drifts. By 22, he is wanted in 3 American states under 4 separate names. By 25, he is a confessed multiple killer by his own later account. In 1915, he is captured for burglary in Oregon and sentenced to 7 years at the Oregon State Penitentiary in Salem. During those 7 years, he attempts to escape 4 separate times. Each escape is unsuccessful. Each is followed by an extended period of solitary confinement. He is released from Salem in 1922 at the age of 31. He has spent more than half of his adult life inside an American institution. He has also, by the time he walks free, written down in the margins of a confiscated Bible the single sentence that becomes the unspoken thesis of every crime he will commit in the next 7 years. In my lifetime, I have murdered 21 human beings. I have committed thousands of burglaries, robberies, larcenies, arsons, and last but not least, I have committed sodomy on more than 1,000 male human beings. For all of these things, I am not the least bit sorry. In the autumn of 1922, he travels to New York City, the Lutheran Reform School at Red Wing. The Bible margin notes Fort Leavenworth Military Prison Interior Penrose as a young Army recruit. Penrose, during one of his Oregon escape attempts, the long corridor of the Salem solitary block. Penrose, released from Salem in 1922. In November of 1920, between his Oregon prison terms, Carl Penrose has briefly visited New York City. There he has noticed a small private steam yacht moored in a Hudson River boatyard belonging to a Wall Street financier. He has noted the boat's name, the boatyard's nightly schedule, and the financier's seasonal travel plans. In the autumn of 1922, on the day after his release from Oregon, Penrose returns to that exact boatyard. He waits until midnight. He steals the yacht. He sails the yacht down the Hudson, around the tip of Manhattan, and out into the Atlantic. Over the next 11 days, he puts in at small coastal ports between New York and Philadelphia and hires 10 unemployed merchant sailors as crew. He pays each man in advance for a 6-month voyage. He tells them he is delivering the yacht to a buyer in Brazil. He gets each man drunk on his first night aboard. He shoots each man through the back of the head with a stolen Colt service revolver. He weights each body with cast iron sash weights from the yacht's spare parts locker. He drops each body one at a time over the side of the yacht into the Atlantic. 10 men, 11 days. He sails the yacht alone across the Atlantic. He puts in at the port of Luanda in the Portuguese colony of Angola in February of 1923. He hires a local Angolan guide to take him into the interior to hunt crocodiles. 6 local porters are hired to carry the supplies. By the time Penrose returns to Luanda 11 weeks later, the guide and all 6 porters are dead and unburied in the bush along the Kwanzaa River. In 1924, he sails the yacht back to the United States and abandons it in a shallow inlet on the coast of Bermuda in his canvas duffel bag. When he steps ashore on American soil for the first time in 18 months, are 16 unidentified human teeth wrapped in a handkerchief, his only souvenirs from Africa. The American Eagle yacht moored at the Hudson Pier, yacht's wheelhouse at dawn, the yacht's saloon table after dinner, the Atlantic Ocean at midnight, the Luanda Quay morning, the Angolan bush along the Kwanzaa River. Penrose alone in the colonial supply tent, Penrose returning alone to Luanda. After 11 weeks, the abandoned yacht in the Maryland mudflats, Penrose stepping back onto American soil in 1924, the souvenir handkerchief unwrapped on a table, Penrose checking into a Maryland boarding house, Penrose drifting again across the United States, 1924 to 1928. In November of 1928, Carl Penrose is captured by the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police while attempting to burgle the home of a federal court judge. He is convicted of housebreaking and sentenced to 25 years at the United States Penitentiary at Leavenworth, Kansas, the same federal complex where he served his first prison term as a teenager. He is admitted to Leavenworth on the 7th of February, 1929. He is 37 years old. He is at this point taller, more violent, and more openly contemptuous of any other human being than the prison administration has on record. Every guard who handles his intake processing despises him on sight. He is assigned to the most physically taxing labor the prison can lawfully require of an inmate, the steam laundry, and he is placed under maximum security observation. One guard, alone in the entire facility, does not despise Carl Penrose. His name is Walter Lassiter. He is 22 years old. He is the son of a Kansas farmer. He has been on staff at Leavenworth for 11 months. He is naturally quiet, naturally watchful, and the youngest guard in the segregation wing. On the morning of the 18th of February, 1929, Walter Lassiter notices a single observable fact about the new prisoner in cell B407. Carl Penrose is the only inmate in the entire wing who has not lied to a single guard about a single thing. Lassiter, after his shift, brings Penrose a pencil and 3 sheets of lined notepaper. He asks Penrose through the small viewing slot in the cell door whether he would be willing to write down the story of his life. Lassiter is 22 years old. He has no idea what he is about to read. Over the next 11 months, Penrose hands him 30,000 words. Penrose answers in a single sentence. Over the next 11 months, Walter Lassiter, every Friday afternoon at the end of his shift, returns to cell B407 to collect that week's pages and to deliver fresh paper and pencils. By June of 1929, Carl Penrose has handed Walter Lassiter approximately 15,000 words. Lassiter, who has read every page as they have been handed to him, knows by this date that he is the only living human being in possession of a confession to 21 separate murders. He has told no one. Walter Lassiter, master reference shot Penrose, writing inside cell B407. Lassiter, receiving manuscript pages through the slot, the segregation wing corridor at night. Lassiter reading the manuscript at home, loaned the manuscript pages tied with string. Penrose at the desk at midnight. The warden, Thomas Wakeman, master reference the warden's office interior. Robert Wenger, master reference, shot the Leavenworth steam laundry interior. the iron bar in the boiler room, Penrose at the steam press, Wenger filing the work quality report the morning of the 20th of June, 1929, the Leavenworth steam laundry. Carl Penrose is assigned to operate one of the large industrial steam presses under the supervision of the laundry foreman, a 36-year-old federal civilian employee named Robert Wenger. Wenger has the previous afternoon formally reported Penrose for sloppy work on a batch of officers' shirts. The report has been entered into Penrose's file. In the boiler room adjoining the laundry there sits, on a small wooden tool bench, a 20-pound cast-iron tie bar from the press's drive shaft. At 9:45 in the morning, Penrose enters the boiler room. He lifts the iron bar from the bench. He carries it through the swing door back into the main laundry. He walks up behind Wenger, who is bent over a wooden sorting table, inspecting a basket of folded sheets, and he strikes Wenger once across the back of the head with the bar. Robert Wenger is dead before his body strikes the laundry floor. Penrose, calmly and unhurried, walks the iron bar back into the boiler room and replaces it on the tool bench. He then walks back into the laundry, sits down on a wooden crate beside Wenger's body, folds his hands in his lap, and waits for the guards to arrive. When the guards arrive 7 minutes later, Penrose stands up of his own accord, presents his wrists for the handcuffs, and says only one sentence to the senior guard on the scene. "Now you have to hang me." His trial opens at the Federal District Court in Topeka, Kansas on the 4th of November, 1929. He refuses to mount any defense. He refuses to allow his court-appointed lawyer to call a single witness. He testifies against his counsel's advice in his own defense and uses his testimony to demand that the jury return a verdict of guilty. The jury obliges in 19 minutes. The presiding judge sentences Carl Penrose to death by hanging. The Topeka Federal District Court exterior Penrose returned to Leavenworth death row, the wooden gallows beginning construction in the yard. Penrose threatening to kill anyone who appeals Penrose at his desk, continuing to write Lassiter visiting on a Friday, the manuscript bundle growing through 1930, the warden Wakeman reading a status report, the Kansas prairie around Leavenworth in summer 1930, the gallows construction completed, Penrose sleeping calmly the night before execution. For the next 10 months, Carl Penrose lives alone in a single-occupancy death row cell in the segregation wing of Leavenworth. He receives one visitor, Walter Lassiter, every Friday afternoon. Over those 10 months, Penrose hands Lassiter approximately 15,000 additional words. The total manuscript, by the date of execution, runs to roughly 30,000 words. It is a complete year-by-year, country-by-country, victim-by-victim account of every act of violence Penrose can remember committing since the age of 8. It contains no remorse of any kind. Penrose's lawyers, against his explicit instruction, attempt to file 3 separate appeals on his behalf. He sends each one back to them with a handwritten threat they withdraw the appeals. On the morning of the 5th of September, 1930, at 6 o'clock, Carl Penrose walks calmly from cell B407 to the new wooden gallows in the Leavenworth execution yard. He spits in the prison chaplain's face. He climbs the 13 steps without assistance. He delivers his line. He is dead within 40 seconds. Walter Lassiter is present at the execution. He is 23 years old. He is holding inside a worn leather briefcase tucked under his right arm the only copy of the manuscript in the world. Lassiter will spend every remaining year of his life trying to find an American publisher willing to print the manuscript in full. Every American publisher he approaches between 1931 and 1969 turns him down. The first publisher to accept the manuscript signs the contract in the autumn of 1970, 35 years after Penrose's execution. The manuscript becomes one of the founding documents of modern American criminology. It is, 60 years later, still required reading at every FBI behavioral sciences course taught in the world. Walter Lassiter, who lived another 5 years after the manuscript was finally published, never gave a single press interview about Carl Penrose. Lassiter's small Kansas farmhouse in retirement, the briefcase preserved on Lassiter's writing desk in 1975, Lassiter's funeral in 1975, the manuscript in modern criminology libraries, Penrose has become the most quoted criminal autobiographer in modern history because one 22-year-old prison guard in Kansas, against every other person who ever met Penrose, decided to give him a pencil. If you want to understand the only man in modern history who succeeded in being executed on his own demand and his own schedule, And to see the next killer who, unlike Penrose, never spent a single day inside a prison cell, never wrote a single sentence about his crimes, and quietly photographed every single one of his victims, and stored the photographs alphabetically inside his own family home for 20 consecutive years, watch our next case. Because the next killer was not a man without a family. He was a husband, a father, a church elder, and a Cub Scout leader.